Okay, it's there. Okay, it's 9:30. Welcome everyone to our May 6th regular council meeting. I'm going to call the meeting to order and start off with land acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that the township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen is located on the Treaty 20 Mississauga territory of the Mississauga and Chippewa Nation, collectively known as the Williams Treaties First Nation, which includes Curve Lake, Hiawatha, Alderville, Scugog Island, Rama, Coastal and Turgeon Island First Nation. The Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen respectfully acknowledges that the Williams Treaties First Nations are the stewards and caretakers of the lands and waters in perpetuity, and that they continue to maintain this responsibility to ensure their health and integrity for generations to come. Next, I have a moment of silence for former Councillor Barry Pomeroy, who passed away April 24th, 2025. Barry was the last reeve of the village of Havelock prior to amalgamation in 1998. He began serving as reeve in 1991 after being on council since 1981. Barry was elected back to HPM council in 2010 and served until 2022. With almost 30 years of service to local government, Barry will be fondly remembered. Barry had lots of sayings, but my favorite was whenever you asked him how he was doing, he was always top of the heap. So with almost 30 years of service to local government, he will be fondly remembered. Please join me for a moment of silence to remember Barry Pomeroy. Thank you. So, next, I'll ask everyone to make sure your cell phones are off and place on vibrate for them to serve the meeting. And I'll remind council of declaration of consumer interest if it arises. Next, we have minutes here from the April 15th meeting. If all is in order, I'll look for a motion to receive those minutes. Moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, second by Councillor Clement. All in favor, and that's carried. We don't have any delegations today. We have staff report for information. The first staff report for information is Sherry Gusbeck with the Economic Development Officer for Social Media Insights. Next, we have Peter Lawson, Manager of Public Works, February and March department updates. And the next item here is Lionel down with the update on the capital project. Any questions? Deb, go ahead.
Yes, I have a question for Sherry and her social media insights. Sorry, Lionel, she'll be the third one. Sherry, I was a little bit confused with the charts because it kind of shows that our Facebook is kind of down and then goes up. And then the last report, we have Havelock at 90, like the photos. And is that one or is it the next one? Oh, this one. Reach interactions, link, clicks, and visits. It says Havelock, Ontario is 32.9%. Can you explain that chart?
Certainly. There's a couple of things to point out. Within the report itself, we highlight month-over-month comparisons, and new followers, for example, is growing month over month. Last month, the trajectory of the growth is lower than the previous month, but we had the benefit of fire and ice in February, just to point that out. If you go over to page, and I think Councillor Blakler relating to reach, interactions, links, clicks, and visits, excuse me. So what you're looking at is over the course of 31 days, the activity, if you will, on our social media accounts. And it really reflects what's going on in the moment of time. So fire and ice was certainly high activity levels, but for us in the month of March, we were contending with the ice storm. And you can almost pinpoint when we started to push information, especially helpful information in terms of warming centers where resources were available. And we tried to highlight that on page 1 of 3 in the actual breakdown. We just sort of pinpoint what those peaks are. The March 6th peak was the March break activities post. This is where we're promoting what's happening at the arena. And then March 11th, we had an administration job opportunity, which tends to, again, bolster numbers of activity on our social media. And then finally, the storm has hit, and this is where the warming center information's been posted.
Thank you, Sherry.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the information reports?
I had a general question in terms of how do they determine men and women? Yeah, sorry, Sherry.
Nope, nope.
How do they do the breakdown of men and women? Is that just through?
Through social media, not everyone, but a number of people will highlight what their
Identity.
gender is,
Okay.
yeah, when they set up their profiles.
Thank
It's just aggregate-based data.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions for Sherry?
Yes.
Okay, so motion to receive the reports for information.
Just hers or all of them?
Well, is there any other questions? Go ahead if there's other questions here. They went through them, but go ahead.
Yes, I have a question for Lionel. In your report, Lionel, it shows that we have projects, past projects in former years that were not done. So I have a question on two. I've got notes here, but I got my thing. The one is, I thought that the Union Road that we put away was 200,000 and it states on the report it was 400,000.
You share, we put $200,000 away the last 2 budgets.
Okay, thank you. And one more, why in the waste section in 2023 and 2022, why were those projects not finished or done? I believe it was a steel roof and of 1 and 3, I believe.
See you share, I think Peter might be better able to just provide the information for why they're not done.
Peter, you're online.
Yes. Good morning, Mayor Martin and members of council. I'm just catching up to which sections those were, Councillor Flagger. Could you repeat those so I could get to the right section here?
Yeah, it was waste. It was done in 2023 and 2022.
Okay, yes, through you, Mayor Martin, to Councillor Flaggers. Is that the new stalls for the bin? Is that one of the questions you were referring to, Councillor Flagger?
Yes.
Yes, so that's not completed because the scale was newly in place, and with the new stalls going in, we were going to reconfigure the basically how the traffic flows through the transfer station. So if we did install those bins, it would have blocked off the path that is as known now that stays to the right and goes up. It was council's decision at the time to have a slow, I can't think of the right terminology, but to bring the scales in slowly and not to make a huge change in the traffic flow, and to allow the locals, residents with 2 bags or less to stay on that main traffic course as it is today. So we do have a report coming back to council with a new bylaw in the near future to change back to what was originally laid out by our consultant, and change the traffic flow so everyone will be going across the scale. And at that time, we can put the new stalls in, which would block off the original traffic that stays to the right, that goes up past the mullock bins and the hazardous waste site.
Thank you, Peter, for that. I appreciate it. One more question. King Street. Was budgeted for 50,000. I didn't mark down the year, but it's been a couple of years. Why has that project not started?
Through you, Mayor Martin, I might call on Bob to assist me with this question, but we have been in contact with the resident and the concern. I don't know if Bob, if he could answer any more to that question, that would be sure helpful.
Through you, Mayor Martin, there's no new information to provide on that at this moment. That project remains a work in progress. We'll have to bring that back to council.
Thank you, everyone, for your answers. Thanks, Peter.
Okay, any other questions for the information item? Go ahead.
Through your chair to Lionel, I'm gathering that the fire department has no updates on their capital budget for the year. It's the only one seems to be missing.
Through you, Chair, the information wasn't available when the report was submitted by the first deadline.
Good, thanks.
Okay. Other questions? If there's no questions, I'll look for a motion to receive the reports for information. Moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, second by Councillor Doherty. All in favor? Carried. Okay, so moving into staff reports for follow-up action. Thank you, Daniel. Gary, the first item here. Local campaign.
Through you, Mayor Martin. I think all council members are familiar with our Shop Local campaign, which was brought forward as part of our annual budget exercise. In terms of background, this particular campaign is largely the same in terms of rules and guidelines. We've increased the prize from $50 to $75, awarded twice a month. Remains to be aligned with our bi-monthly council meeting, so we'll continue to do our draws here in on video. You'll note that in the report, we include a cost versus minimum benefit. I highlight that because in order to participate in the contest, you have to spend a minimum of $20. Now, all of our receipts, of course, far and away exceed that. But when I was tracking the information, I didn't include the actual total receipt amount. However, in speaking with our CAO, Bob Angioni, the suggestion being that we work together to make sure that we capture that. So future forward, you'll be able to see not only the minimum, but we'll also be able to highlight just what is that financial impact. The campaign starts with your approval, of course, today, and will run until the end of October, which for us, as it relates to tourism, is both the shoulder and our peak summer tourism period. The recommendation is that we ask Council to approve the 2025 HBM Shop Local Contest Rules and Guidelines as they're presented in the report, as well as approve the official launch of our 2025 Shop Local Contest campaign effective today.
Beth, go ahead.
Through you, Mayor Martin. The cost versus minimum benefit, can you explain? I get minimum purchase, but I'm not, or I guess minimum cost. So you're going by the price of. Last year, what was the ticket that was sent out, like the prize that was sent out?
It was we always tried to, through you, Mayor Martin, we always try to purchase gift cards and certificates that benefit local businesses. So we don't ask them to donate anything, we purchase from them as sort of one of the foundation elements. And so it varied. Foodland, gift cards, as you can imagine, were a big thing, but we had home hardware, Foodland, gas cards from both of our two gas stations selling petrol at the moment. Our local restaurants were all very important. We're going to expand that. It's harder to get excited about a gift card for those retail businesses where the ticket items might be in the thousands, but for retailers where $50 or now $75 has significance, it tends to have a big draw. Through Mayor Martin, to answer the question that you had in terms of minimum benefit versus the cost is the cost of the 2 monthly prizes of $75 times 2, plus a minimal amount of promotional printing as well as advertising. Together, it's $900 for the prizes as well as some $600 for the promotion. Divided through the 6 months shows you how that relates to your cost.
Through you, Mayor Martin. Okay, I understand that. So what was okay, so you won the prize last year. What did you get? You got a card for somewhere in the town. What was the cost of that card?
So the value is $75 now, but last year it was $50. So you would have a gift card that had a value of $50. So you could take your $50 to the Crossroads restaurant and apply it to a dinner, or to the cottage and apply it to a purchase.
Thank you, Sherry.
Go ahead.
Through you, Mayor Martin. So Sherry, did you include the farmer's market?
Through Mayor Martin, in terms of all purchases within the township. So if you purchased and we had a couple through you, Mayor Martin, Lori DeShane was one of our proponents and made sure that all of the vendors within the market also had pop-up tents.
Yeah, I was just gonna make a motion to receive, but just with a comment in that. Thank you for bringing forward the measurables we're gonna be bringing to future updates in terms of letting council know what kind of, like you said, what kind of bang for our buck we're getting for what we're doing. I think it's quite reasonable in terms of the amount of money we're spending, so I think the return of what we're getting so far has been pretty good. It's really interesting to see those numbers when they finally come in, so thank you.
So it's a motion to
Oh,
approve.
yeah, a motion to approve, I apologize.
Okay, second, and second by Councillor Doherty. All in favor? That's carried. Great program, Sherry.
Yeah, thank you.
Next, we have the fishing derby. This is something I think Deputy Mayor Webb started a long time ago and it's still going. So it's a good turnout.
Through Mayor Martin, for council, many of you participated, not all of you participate on an annual basis. I work closely with Deputy Mayor Webb on this particular project. And we attract approximately 100 to 150 children that are registered and participate in the fishing, but they typically will have a 2.5 or 3 people with them. It is a half-day event, which is about the right length for something like this, where all of the children will walk away not only with a great experience because they're learning to fish, but they'll also have face painting. We'll do some treasure hunts. We have a coloring contest. And we will work with the local community groups to help us with staffing. And it's been a tremendous success. We also have the benefit of the fire department runs the annual barbecue. It's a fundraiser for them, but it's great PR for all of us. The recommendation today is for council to approve the launch of the 2025 HPM Shop Local Contest campaign effective today.
Through you, Mayor Martin. I noticed that the fire department is there. Is that in-kind services that the township is supplying for this? Because it is a great program or a great event. So I was just kind of curious. It doesn't say anything in the report about the fire department.
Thank you, Mayor Martin. That's an excellent question. It's a volunteer event for them. They have a social committee and each year they commit to that. They bring out, I'd be guesstimating, but usually 7 or 8 volunteer firemen are there. Oftentimes they're bringing family members as well. They look for donations, so they have their own prizes to offer kids. And oftentimes the very food that they're preparing is donated to help them with their fundraising efforts.
Thank you, Sherry.
Thank you.
Questions? So we look for a motion to approve this.
I just.
So this is great. I attend every year. It's a great event. So I'd like to pass the motion. We accept this.
So you're moving
Yes.
recommendation.
So yes.
Is there a seconder? Councillor Doherty?
It's a comment or question. Thank you for all the work that you and the volunteers are doing. It's my one question, I had a couple of questions, I know it was last year, the year before, but are we advertising for this at the moment? I just had a couple people in years past say that I think usually we would only wait till 2 weeks out to advertise it. And I said, geez, if I would have had a bit more notice, we would have planned to come to here, right? So if we could get this out, maybe it's been out already, but sorry, Sarah, go ahead.
To you, Mayor Martin, this is an excellent question. We've brought this forward as opposed to bringing this to you in sort of for information. We're approaching it, looking for approval. So today, with your approval, I have posters ready to go up and social media will launch this afternoon.
Thank you, Sharon.
Okay, so I have a mover and a seconder. Any other questions? All in favor? And that's carried. Next, carried the local advantage, branding.
Yes, thank you for your Mayor Martin. So the Local Advantage program, which is a cooperative exercise or initiative with Peterborough County, the township, of course, myself participating, and they bring together other agencies to the table in terms of shared resources. In this case, Community Futures Peterborough, we have Rose Terry, who will be presenting their Entrepreneur 101 Branding Lab, which is certainly a service that our small business people will value. I've asked that for our event here, that we change it up a little bit in that it's not going to be just the Branding Lab. I still would like us to have resources attend the event 2 hours earlier, those being our Employment Planning Center, the EPC partners, as well as Career Edge and Digital Main Street. Digital Main Street being an organization that provides guidance in terms of improving their online marketing, websites, my goodness, so social media. And then we are there to help make connections. And when I say connections, it's not just me working with them closely, but also business to business connections. Oftentimes they walk away introducing themselves to other small businesses where they could collaborate and hopefully share benefit. So this event will start with the business support services at 10, and then at 12 p.m. Rose Terry will launch her training program. Our recommendation is that council approve the Local Advantage 101 Entrepreneur Branding event, which will provide local businesses with marketing and branding educational support, and also authorize staff to proceed with the active promotion of 101 Entrepreneur Branding Lab.
Questions? Recommendation is here, that council approve Local Advantage 101 Entrepreneur Branding Lab.
Motion, please.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, seconder, Councillor Flagler. Questions? Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, is this similar to the one that ran in March the 24th?
Through you, Mayor Martin, it's exactly the same series, and we've decided that with each month that we get together, we're going to introduce new value. So we'll still provide business support services through our partner agencies, but in this case, we're also providing educational support. And that's something that we hope to continue to provide in the following subsequent series.
Thanks, Sherry. You can follow up. I was led to believe at a previous meeting that this was a county initiative to the economic development. Now it doesn't appear to be a county, it appears to be a cooperative thing. Who's doing all the work on this?
Through you, Mayor Martin. So in this case, the Community Futures Peterborough, so the resource that is going to provide training, she's going to be there at no cost to our township, but through her relationships with Peterborough County and with myself, she will be there. Peterborough County will also be there to support the event. But for the 10 until 12, the addition of Employment Planning Center, Career Edge, Digital Main Street, those services participating is an element that I've asked them to include. And it's something that we do on a regular basis as part of economic development. It just brings people together in one experience, but I thought that would be effective. That is something that is unique to our township.
Follow up again. Well, that's fine, but it doesn't answer how many hours do you put in doing a county initiative for HPN? The latter part of the agenda here, I can see that's not the upper part. Where does the county kick in? If this is a partnership, what do they do?
Through you, Mayor Martin. The county works with each township and two First Nation organizations. And together we work on developing a monthly information series of business support. They are providing us with the digital assets that you see that, on the next page. They helped craft them, working with, of course, Community Futures Peterborough. They also help us in terms of laying out communication. So a lot of the communication that is incorporated, the scripting has been provided for me, so I don't have to invest a lot of energy in that. But I would say that as much as the branding, if you look on page 2, just draw your attention, they do have the government agencies that provide this level of support. Taxpayers pay for the benefit of economic development services right to the lowest tier, which is our lower tier. And I think this is a testament to how well we are working in terms of the lower tier working well with the upper tier. I'm quite happy to have the additional support that they provide me. And they give latitude to make elements of this event very specific to the township. My voice is included in the design of the programming as well. I hope I've answered your question.
Thanks for your answer, but no, it would appear to me is what's happening in the past is this county initiative gets downloaded to the township, and they didn't come through the townships when the economic development department was set up. And we were led to believe it was on its own, their initiative. Now it doesn't appear to be their initiative. It appears to be they're downloading it to the municipalities to roll out for them. So that doesn't sound like a partnership to me, but it's okay. That's fine.
So I'm on the county economic development committee, and one of the things we heard loud and clear is it's a collaborative thing. This is the lower tier and the upper tier working together to try and make economic development and tourism better. So this is just another case of working together. It's not that driven by the county or driven by the township. It's just we're going to complement each other, and that's the idea, I think, of this, is to work together and provide more services for local communities.
Through you, Mayor Martin, if you would. I work very well with Peterborough Court, an economic development agency. However, I think it's fair to say that they didn't have the same thumb in the pulse of rural economic development. This is very much a rural economic development model. It is one that is much more, to your point, collaborative. We work together as partners at a table, much like this one, where we share knowledge, experience. We tap into agency resources when it makes sense. And oftentimes they open doors for me that would have otherwise been closed. So from my perspective, I find the level of service I'm receiving today in terms of economic development support to be of higher quality.
So we have a mover and a seconder for this. Sure. Do you have any other questions? All in favor of the motion? Good. Okay, thanks, Chris. The next step, Josh, with regards to first Havelock Scouting weekly meetings. Pretty straightforward. They're looking to use Rotary Park.
That's right, Mayor Martin.
Okay, motion to approve. Okay, moved by Deputy Mayor Webb and second by Councillor Doherty. Any questions with regards to that? Deb?
Through you, Mayor Martin. Josh, I'm okay with the scouting down at the Rotary Park. That's a very busy night for soccer. There's over 65 Timbits, so I'm a little bit concerned with the parking. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but I guess we can give it a go. I don't know what else to say there.
Okay, through you, Mayor Martin, I can reach out to see if a better day would work.
Through you, Mayor Martin. No, that's okay. Presuming they're gonna park at the Rotary Park itself. So it shouldn't be a problem. They were there last year, were they not?
Through you, Mayor Martin, they were.
Okay, thank you, Josh.
It's just reaffirm that it is a busy night, but we're aware. I have a mover and a seconder. All in favor of the motion? That's carried. Thank you. Next, Mike's got, yeah, with regards to the conflict. Got it?
Today, this is providing information, recommendations with respect to the Caution Lake Regatta. If you take a look at the actual report, there are some recommendations brought forward. And I feel like I could go through each one of these if you like. So get a better understanding of specifically what we're looking for. If anything, this would give us a blueprint moving forward with respect to any of the events that we have.
Okay, so the recommendations are before you. Do you want to go through them all, or have you read them? Do you need any clarification on the council? So, you might want to just.
Well, I have, but have we reached out to the organization in terms of letting them have a look at in terms of this, or was this just something we're gonna pass and tell them this is the way it's gonna be? Because usually we reach out to these organizations and try and meet them in the middle.
Through you, Mayor Martin, this report was sent to the writer of the original letter in advance of the council meeting.
We have been no comments back.
Okay, so it is good and early, and you know, all these recommendations are fair. Now, going back there, Mike, you just go on this call. If you get a complaint, you don't go back there to sit back there, do you? Like we deal usually with the complaints process. So when you go there, if somebody complains that something's not happening here, is that how it works?
Sure, you remember, Martin. There is currently right now a continuous complaint with respect to parking. That's one of the issues here. And I do on weekend, the more specifically on weekends I'm there. And I have to fall upon this last year. So yes, I'm in there, but there is no complaint driven right now. It's more particularly with the parking. Yeah, it just fell upon it. So yes, the recommendations are pretty straightforward, but I may make a suggestion though, is maybe hand walking the event coordinators through this so they have better knowledge. It's like throwing them into the fire and they don't understand specifically what's to happen. Or particularly looking at the canteen bylaw. That can be really convoluted and difficult to kind of navigate through. But I'd be more than happy to help them go through these different types of things. The parking might be something that they may not fully understand, meaning one side, not the other, and ensuring that they have dedicated resources to ensure that there are no incidents with respect to that. And again, we talked about golf carts, we talked about ATVs, no helmets, those types of things. So again, I will be up there, or someone in the bylaw enforcement office will be up there that particular day. But I think it's important to come up on us to make sure that the event coordinators have a strong understanding, considering this is a significant event in that area. And not only that, again, this could be a blueprint moving forward for any ones that come. I know Belmont has one a little bit different, but they have one as well. So this will help people move forward and provide a effort with the township.
So I think they're fair recommendations. I think the main thing, as long as they understand all of these things, it's been going on for so many years, and there's never been a problem. Even the canteen thing, I'm not sure. I haven't been in a couple of years. I usually go every year, and I don't know. The only thing I remember is they used to just have a barbecue on the trail. Like it wasn't like a chip truck moving. So, you know, what kind of permit you need for that, I don't know, but maybe they've changed now. Maybe they've got something coming in, but as long as they're aware that, you know, if it's something more than a barbecue, they do have to have a permit. Like that's usually around structures around it, make sure that they got the fire suppression stuff and all that. But usually it's a pretty simple thing, and it's been going for a lot of years. So the parking, they need to understand that it can be a problem around the boat launch there. So, but anyways, the recommendations here are all pretty straightforward, as long as they're aware of it and they know that they can reach out to you for clarification. You know, it'll be a good day again. So, is there any questions for Mike? Go ahead, Deb.
Through you, Mayor Martin. Mike, concerning the parking, do we have signs that we could put up to say no parking, no parking, no parking?
Through Mark, there currently are signs. They were actually stolen last year. And we actually have signs back up in there and actually more signs. So it did help. I think outside of the parking, and to answer your question, I understand there haven't been any issues that we're aware of. But not just parking, but we're talking a lot of different people are walking. You have kids, you have elderly people. I'm not saying something's going to happen, but let's mitigate the risk by ensuring that we're there to ensure that people don't get injured. And I think this will help people understand that we're serious about their safety. About that.
Thank you, Mike.
Any other questions? So the motion would be to move the recommendation. Moved by Councillor Clement, seconded. Deputy Mayor Webb. All in favor? And that's carried. Thanks, Mike. Okay, the next report is fire master plan, Bob.
Mayor Martin, the township has embarked on a master plan exercise for our fire department to map the course in the coming years. And this report asks council for approval to move forward with a community survey regarding fire department services.
Yes, I'll move it.
Moved by Councillor Clement. For a seconder for that. Seconded. Second by Councillor Doherty. Any questions around it? No questions. I'll step go ahead.
Through you, Mayor Martin. I'm wondering if the fire department could explain their survey that they want to send out. On my understanding of it, if I don't phone the fire department, does that mean the rest of the survey, I don't answer any of those questions?
Bob,
Through you, Mayor Martin, firstly, this is not a survey from the fire department. This is a survey from our consultant who is undertaking the exercise of developing a master plan for the fire department. This survey will be available on our website and is open to all residents, not necessarily just those that have called the fire department, but it is gauging a response slash feeling of how well is our fire department serving the community.
Sorry, and just to add to that comment, one of the things they're looking for are volunteers, so I think that's a good thing for people to look at, so.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right, so any other questions? Okay, seconder, all in favor of the motion, and that's carried. Okay, next, George Street, that's revitalization. George Street West revitalization plan.
Through you, Mayor Martin. This is a one-pager, sort of decision support document. So sort of give you a clean view of what are we looking at in terms of George Street. So I'm going to take you through the diagram at the base, and then we'll talk about the costing. So if you look to the corner of George and Quebec Street, you'll note that we'll have large concrete movable, they're lightweight movable planters with easy to maintain plants that don't impact sightlines. There'll be a movable, our decorative garbage can, an example provided for you, the decorative light, which is your lamp pole and light head. And there are 4 of those across the street from one end to the other. We have placed the garbage can by the seniors where they have a bit of an inlet. There's some room to place one there. And you'll notice as we come to the main intersection of George and Oak, again, you have 4 movable planters, decorative lighting on the south, east, and west corners. And our contact at Jewel Engineering, which is Patrick, indicated that there is enough room, if you will, to make those larger planters than what I have illustrated there, because you do have some room there. It will be entirely up to us to decide what those materials are, of course. Where we left it last day was to simplify what are we talking in terms of costing. So this is what we've discussed below, and this is the related costing above. There are 6 concrete planters, roughly 28.75 inches square. Plants, of course, within those movable planters, again, being easily maintained. Option 2 is the impressed asphalt crosswalk with the colorized paint finish, which council chose to go with. The decorative stop signs applied to the appropriate corners, decorative garbage cans, and then your 6 decorative poles, which is the luminaire lamp and pole, roughly 15 feet in height. At the bottom, we've given you the 4 options. I've highlighted the grand view because to me, it's just my point of view, and of course, will be up to you to decide. It has a very nice aesthetic and an elevated view, if you will. So our recommendations are noted to the right.
Didn't get this in our package.
I think it was a separate email.
It was emailed to you.
Oh, separate one, sorry, gotcha.
Yeah.
No.
Very good.
It's not really a question for Sherry, but I know Peter's looked at this. How comfortable is Peter with the snow removal at Oak and George with the span that we recommended? I'm sure he's looked at it. You're online, Peter.
Thank you.
Yes, through you, Councillor Doherty. Yes, we could definitely work with the snow removal with what has being proposed here.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So there's a lot of good things in there. So it's and it's within reach, I think. It's so what's council's thoughts on this? Deb, go ahead.
Through you, Mayor Martin. Sherry, so have you pretty much picked option 4 or option? No, we're not doing the parking lot on George Street. So it's option 4 is what we're looking at, 139,000.
With regards to the one pager that you have in front of you, Councillor Flagler, this is a summary of what we discussed last day. It was a takeaway item. And the sum total of the creative or decorative elements that you see in the diagram amount to $132,100. Okay. We had budgeted for $201,000 for the entire scope of the project.
Okay. All right, so this is a lot more clear, I think, and it keeps it simple as far as trying to understand. So the council.
I'm sorry, Jim, just one more question.
Yeah.
What did you look into what the cost is going to be to move those planters at the end of the season?
Through you, Mayor Martin, it's something that we've discussed with Public Works in the past in terms of we have the equipment to pick them up and move them. That was determined to be something we had within our control and wouldn't add additional costs to it. We would be dependent on an external agency for that.
So the recommendation is the 132,900.
Yeah.
The one pager, which was emailed last week. That's what's on the screen. So they want to move the recommendation. Moved by Councillor Flagler, seconder, Councillor Clement. All in favor? That's carried. Okay, thank you. Correspondence. Oh, sorry, yeah. Next page. Okay. So an update on the project. Sorry.
Through you, Mayor Martin. So at the previous council meeting, our last council meeting, council made a couple of recommendations to update the private road grant program. This report presents those updates and includes them in the new policy. And this report asks for council's approval.
One thing that you've talked about culverts in there, one of the questions I've had a few times in the last couple of weeks is due to the ice storm. There was a lot of extra costs for some of the roads that they were wondering if this is something they could access. I would think that fits in as far as it's not snow plowing and that, but it's an emergency repair, I think. So it would be up to council, but
Yeah, through you, Mayor Martin, and council can certainly make amendments to the policy at any time or make exceptions. This update provides for routine maintenance to not be included
Yeah.
in the policy, and this is for major capital items.
Through you, do we have the language in there in terms of, to the mayor's point, like emergency situations or kind of one-off events?
I think it does say, it says
Okay.
such as capital culvert replacement. And that's just a such as.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
and maybe moving forward, we
Emergency.
bring an amendment in terms of putting that word emergency or emergency
Emergency
situations.
repairs or something like that. It covers a little wider.
We can do that.
Like a culvert is just one thing.
It's just an example.
The example, yeah. Comments? Gary, go ahead.
I didn't say a word.
Okay. So anyways, as it is now, it just cleans it up to understand that it's not for general maintenance. So, you know, and we can, so I'm sure there'll be questions come in and that's just an emergency if it was added in there.
Yeah,
I'll make a motion to approve and then maybe we'll just have a closer look at it. You're moving forward, so.
Sure. Okay, moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, second by Councillor Clement. Any other questions? All in favor? That's carried. We don't have any action items for correspondence. There is 2 information items in correspondence. The one there, the information was from OSM doing about daylight savings time.
Yeah.
You know, it's, I would think that they're looking for support. That's why it came to us, is that they don't ask for it.
They don't ask for it, so
So,
yeah, they're really just letting us know.
yeah. So,
Motion to receive.
okay, motion to receive the items, second, moved by Councillor Doherty, second by Deputy Mayor Webb. All in favor? It's carried. So, the liaison report. County update, or Art, you put in some stuff about the orange.
Mr. Mayor, I just included this with the package. I thought other council members would be interested. I'm sure they get questions about cell phone towers or cell phone coverage from the residents. So included in this. This is as you said, an update brought by Enorn. Just outlining the new cell tower plan builds, ones that are already in construction, and outlines basically a timeline as to when they will be completed. There's a couple other graphs there, I guess. Graphs, photos that show the updated coverage for our service areas. So I think it gives a picture from 2014 and then 2024. I believe if I get there, the orange map. So that's just those two are, the left is 2014, the right is 2024. So you can see we're kind of in the middle of that area. There's been large areas of our township that have been upgraded quite a bit in the last 10 years. So it's nice to see we continue to work on it, and hopefully, as I said, we look at this again in 10 years, if any of us are still here, that'll all be orange. So
I think by the end of 2026, there's a lot going to happen. So this kind of complements what Sherry brought us last meeting, so. Any
And
questions?
sorry, any questions or just the timelines on the other page, is the dates. Scheduled completion of the towers and their locations, so.
Yeah, we've got quite a few asking, so either in our township or close by, so. Okay, motion to receive the county report. Moved by Councillor Clemens, second by Councillor Doherty. All in favor? That's carried. Next, we have the liaison report. Jerry, you had minutes here from March 12th, community policing. Any questions for Jerry with regards to that? And next, there's the youth committee minutes from March 19th. So, are there any questions around that? Okay, motion to receive the information from liaison report. Moved by Councillor Clement. Second by Councillor Doherty. All in favor? And that's carried. I don't have any written notice of motion before me. Is there anyone with a motion coming today? Seeing none. We catch up here. So next we have new business. Kathy, shoreline preservation brochure, you got that before.
So through you, remember, this is more of an update for today. I have asked Bob about putting the QR code on, and we discussed at the last meeting. Tomorrow, we're actually having a Zoom call to find out. We think there's possibly only maybe 100 to 150 pamphlets that we need, but we're doing our Zoom call tomorrow afternoon. So at this point, it's going to be minimal. And the pamphlet has been redone by the Lake residents, very similar to what we had before, just updated. And I have that on hand too. So the next meeting, I'll definitely tell you. We think maybe 100 to 150. Then we'll hand it either maybe at the marinas or somewhere like this.
Question through you, Mayor Martin. And that's great, Kathy. Is that going to everyone, all the lakes?
Yes, it is.
And you're
Yes, it is.
just hand giving it to everyone?
Well, we haven't quite decided that yet, whether we're like not to every resident, but if we hand out, say 50 to each marina in each lake,
Or association?
or whatever. Yes, but that's what we're working on tomorrow on our Zoom call.
Okay, thank you.
So they'd be good if they do have any in-person AGMs, they can hand them out there.
Yep.
Good. Okay, so I had a mover. Did I have a seconder on that? No. Need a seconder for that. Thank you, Mayor Webb. Questions?
What are we approving?
Sorry, I can do them all together or just receiving it.
No, it's
Yeah.
the shoreline one?
Just receive.
Yeah, just to receive it.
Well, that's not,
Yeah,
it doesn't sound like we're receiving it when we're instructing if we're gonna put the pamphlets out and we're gonna do this. That doesn't sound like we're
Sorry.
receiving it. We're sounding like we're approving. That's why I was just curious as to. Thank you.
Well, there was no motion.
We don't have all that.
The motion.
so we don't have that
The motion
information.
is
Just let me leave it to the end and. Sorry. So, okay, the next is the arena gates,
Sorry, through you, Mr. Mayor. I had a call from a couple residents, just more surrounding the traffic that's been created now that they've started the construction on George Street. Asking why the gates weren't open at the arena. I said I'd look into it since kind of slipped my mind that obviously we're starting construction at the arena. So the arena parking lot is going to be a construction area as well. And I think I've been talking with the CAO and the roads manager. I think, well, I'd just like to rescind what I brought forward here in terms of, I've realized now that we can't really open those gates, right? So I think what's happening though is down here on George Street, what we need to get that road closed sign moved from Orange Street to Victoria Street because everybody's seeing it at Orange, thinking they can't get to Victoria to kind of that cut to King Street and back, right? So if we can get QBT there to move that road closed sign or just get it right off the road because they've already got one at Victoria Street. Hopefully that'll alleviate some of the concerns that we're getting from residents. So and thank you to Bob and Pete for dealing with this. Apologize for bringing it up.
Yeah, and I had some calls too, and I think that's the difference from last year is Victoria Street is open, but the way the signs are placed is kind of messing it up that people can't, they think they have to go onto Highway 7. Where once they can use Victoria Street, there is a way of getting through without going on Highway 7. So that's
I don't know if Pete's there. Is there a way, I see Pete on the screen. Have we contacted them about that sign, Pete? And is there a way we can possibly get on that today if we haven't?
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. Well, Victoria Street is open. The hard closure is just west of Victoria Street. So Victoria Street is open. The sign at Orange Street is basically trying to direct the heavier truck traffic out to 7. So to save the congestion at the intersection of Victoria. So I've spoke with QBT and they're gonna change the signs. They're going to put some no heavy truck signs at the arena and another one right at Orange, heavy trucks with an arrow out to 7, out to Ottawa Street. And then it'll be, I think, a little clearer for the residential traffic to get to Victoria and off of George and make that intersection to get around the gates at the arena.
Thank you, Terry. I appreciate that, but I think what they need to do is get that sign off the road. So the signs they're putting there, I hope, are at least on the side of the road. Because by having that sign in the middle of the road, I think anybody, myself included, the first time I went down there, I just figured the road was closed past that point, right? So they have to move that. If they're going to keep the road closed or the heavy traffic, that needs to be on the shoulder kind of the road, not right in the middle of the road. At Orange.
Yes, that's correct. Yes, through you, Mayor Martin, that's exactly right. They're going to be on the north side of in the parking stalls there, if to sort of speak. So shoulder parking stalls is where the sign will be. So it'll be a full 2-lane traffic right to Victoria Street.
Thank you, Peter.
okay. All right then. All right, the next item on here is the new medical clinic. So I asked this to be on. We've had a lot of discussion over the last few months around, trying to set something up and looking at alternatives. So there's two parts to this. And thank you, Bob, for including the concept drawing. Sometimes it's nice to see, possibilities, even it might be a little large, but it's a possibility of, what we could work towards. Last term, we sold the medical center. And in the motion, it was that we look at constructing a new one and what that is. We've all had discussions around whether we need, something as big as, I know the previous mayor brought forward one that was similar to what's on there now. It was pretty big. Do we need that big? I think that's what I would like to see us start some discussion on. But I just need to know where council's at with this. So I was gonna just go around the table as far as to find out where council or how they feel about starting the process of looking for a new medical center or clinic, because we all know it's going to take 3 to 5 years to even get a shovel in the ground by the time you do all the paperwork and things like that. It's something that a lot of us have heard from our residents that we do need something, but we don't know what it's going to look like. So to start the process now and try and have something over the next few months of some direction, I think that's what we need to do. Even the other part about the interim clinic that I was speaking about, I still think there's opportunity there to get in the game for the next 3 to 5 years. It gets us a place to at least operate out of until the new place is constructed. But I needed to know where council sits on working on this to start the process of, seeing how much it would cost, what it's going to look like, because it's going to take a little bit of time. And then, like I say, 3 to 5 years before you can even get this thing built. So if we don't start talking about it soon, the time is flying here. And we do have money in the reserve from selling the medical center as some seed money. And I just needed to know where council sits on this, if they want to start the process and look into this. So,
Okay.
Kathy, I'll just go around the table. And
So through you, Mayor Martin, I definitely think we definitely need a new municipal building, public works all combined, everything together. I would like to see a clinic where we could at least offer our local residents x-rays, blood work to keep them away from the hospitals, they don't travel. We definitely need something here. I think it's time that we move forward, I really do.
Okay, so yeah, the main thing today, I'm just looking at the medical center without the other stuff, but
Okay.
that's, because this is something that's needed big time, so. It's in my eyes, but I don't know, like it's all totally up to council. Art, do you?
Yeah, there's something obviously with the council we've been talking about, maybe not at the medical center stage, but around medical issues. Given where we are now and possibly where we could be heading, I think this is the route we should be taking. Further to Kathy's point, whether it's a doctor, maybe it's not even a doctor that we get here for the medical center, it's support services. So you brought up x-rays, dialysis, there's many people in our region go for dialysis, things like that, a regional clinic, something like that that's gonna, make the lives easier for our residents in terms of healthcare and the lack of healthcare they're getting from higher levels of government, or lack of support there. And so I'm all for it. I think this is probably something we could have started earlier, but hey, we are where we are. And like I said, I'm all for moving forward on this. To your point, in terms of the size and scale, I think that's something as well. I don't know if we need to be building a huge regional medical health center here. But to just maybe having discussions with our residents, maybe a town hall or two to gauge to see what they're looking for, right? In terms of maybe they want a doctor, maybe they don't need a doctor, maybe a lot of them have doctors, like you said, they're looking for support services. That's what we need to get our head around and then figure out what we need to build to be able to bring that to our community. So I'll leave it at that.
Thank you.
Sorry, can I add to Hertz? The dialysis is a great idea. I know someone here locally, they had to move to Peterborough because of dialysis. Something that would be amazing. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, Bev, what's your thoughts?
Confused because I thought that was a municipal building and public works. So now what happened to public works? Now we got a medical center. It looks awesome. I think if we had the money for it, I think we would go for it. But that's all I've heard from this council is we can't afford it. We got a baseball diamond that's gonna sit there. Are you gonna put the money into that right now? No, nobody is. So, and then we got the arena going, like, I just don't see where that's gonna fit in right now. I guess down the road, maybe, but I would like to hear from our public first.
Yeah, and I think that's a good idea is, to open up the dialogue because, this picture is just a good example of even it's a modular thing, like you look at it and maybe that's not the place, that's where the public will become involved. But, if you look at it, it's a possibility you could build a medical center and, maybe the other part doesn't happen right away. Maybe that's not in the flavor of the community, but, the main thing right now is to get something going with either a clinic or a medical center. But to the deputy mayor's point, we could start something now as far as getting some dialogue going with the community and see where they stand and what kind of support there is. As far as the money, it's all going to rely on, grants and things like that. But if you don't have a plan, you can't apply for a grant. So, and that was the idea for several terms now. We've tried to have shovel-ready projects where they're ready to go. If something pops up, we can go for it. But we need to start somewhere, and that's all I'm trying to do today. Is the other part of it is the clinic that I was talking about within the community to get in the game. We've heard from a few people that it would work. There is a cost to it. It would probably be a good overlap until this thing is ready, because you could probably have something ready by Christmas if you were to go with the other option. But for the long haul, we need a plan here, and that's all I'm asking today is to what kind of support council has to start the process and get some with staff to get where we need to start, whether it's the rezoning, finding the property, or just as simple thing as holding a public meeting and starting it that way. So But you're right, there's no money right now, but if you don't have a plan, you're not gonna get any money either, so. Jerry?
Mr. Mayor, I guess there's several thoughts. Number one is I'd like to put this on hold until we make a decision on what we're doing with Norwood. We seem to be throwing balls in the air here at a rapid rate. We went from a medical center we sold, I guess, 3-4 years ago. Why don't we piggyback on that plan that you had then, or was there one?
Yes, there was.
Yeah.
What was the plan?
To build a new one.
To build a new one. Okay, so nothing's, I guess nothing's really being put forward. You said then we're gonna build a new one. I guess what you're saying is we haven't worked that plan?
No, we haven't worked on the plan to get that part of it, that part of the motion going, and that's what I'm trying to do today.
Well, I'd say let's look after the Norwood situation first, then bring it back. I think we have a letter going out to the municipality with our final tax bill, which would be June. I think we should need to know what the public wants, and what we seem to be going here, there, and then we're going over and doing this. And we wonder why we don't accomplish things. I guess because we have too many things going at the same time. So that's why. But do we need one, a medical center? Yes, but that thought went in when we sold the other one as to what should be done, and that's 4 years old now.
So, and that's why I'm trying to get it going now, that's what the decision of the day was, that we sell the medical center and build a new one. So far this term, we haven't talked about it. I'm just trying to get it on the table, that we start the process of moving forward. And like you say, the tax bill, there could be a question in the tax bill to start it off as far as your thoughts on a medical center clinic. Maybe that's one of the questions that goes in the tax bill to start the process. Then we'll have a feel of where the community stands, have a public meeting. But all of this could happen before fall. And hopefully in the fall, we have a plan to start moving forward. Like I say, 3 to 5 years to get this thing done. We need to start somewhere. And the last council made the decision to sell it, to build a new one. This term, we haven't talked about it. I just want to get it on the table to know where council feels. Do we want to start that process? And, you know, and that's all today's for. So what I would, I guess, be looking for, it sounds like there's support to start the public process. So if it starts off with the tax bill and the question in the tax bill, Bob?
Through you, Mayor, based on comments from council today, I think we can include this question as part of our annual budget survey, which will go out on the tax bill. And then we'll gauge from there.
Okay, thank you. All right then, so, but what I'm hearing is council's supporting looking at it. It's just where we start, that'll be the next. I'll work on that over the next few couple of months and see if I can get something going before fall. So, okay. So the motion would be that we insert a questionnaire with regards to the medical center in the medical tax bill. Is that what you're?
I think you just received the activity.
Okay, you're okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Other business.
Receive other business then for today. Moved by Councillor Clement, second by Deputy Mayor. Any other questions? All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, we don't have any bylaws today, so we are going to go into a closed session. So I'll look for a motion that we take a 15-minute recess. Okay. So motion to go take a recess by Deputy Mayor Webb and second by Councillor Lyman. Okay, so we are going to go into closed session, so I'll look for a motion that we go into closed session held under section 239(2)(e) for personal matters, 239(2)(e) litigation and potential litigation, and 239(2)(k) position plan procedure. So I'll look for a motion to go into closed. Moved by Councillor Clement, second by Councillor Doherty, all in favor. That's carried. And I'll give it. So one motion to come out of closed.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin, one motion to come out of closed. That council hereby approves a written agreement with the Township of Asheville Norwood regarding rostering patients at the Norwood Medical Center. with the final agreement to be brought to open session at our next council meeting.
Okay, motion to move that. Gary, Kathy, all in favor? Carried. Okay. So we'll move into the confirming bylaw. Jerry, Kathy, all in favor? Carried. Motion to adjourn. Art, Beth.